So we think that it's the time has come to look at all the issues and see what we can do, given the fact that ISO New England has raised the issue of an over-reliance on natural gas, and there will be, from all the utilities.
You're having trouble hearing me.
Oh my heavens, I'm
Keep
sorry.
that mic real close to you.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe if you hold it up just there.
I'm going to make sure Joe does it. So what I guess briefly I'll just say that we think that the law already exists to allow us to do it, but that this commission provides a critical resource in order for us to do it well and to overcome some of the obstacles that might not make it in the best interest of ratepayers.
So hydro and wind power don't pay anything for the wind or for the water, so when they produce an extra kilowatt of electricity, they're not paying someone for fuel. So they're most likely the lowest in this bid stack. Nuclear is next because nuclear fuel is less expensive than other fuels. And then put it on this map, the miles of overhead underground facilities in New England. On 345, around 70 of the 178 miles of underground 345 are in Connecticut.
Why hear you saying the differential between the least costly method of running those lines and the differential between overhead and underground, those costs would not be regionalized?
Well, unless the ISO felt that the only feasible way to build a transmission line was underground. Like an example, in Boston, there are 345 kV lines that are underground, and the region pays because there's no feasible way to do anything else.
Has the Northern Pass project, which you guys are a member of, investigated the possibility of using state transportation rights of way?
PSNH, Northern Pass has a preferred route, but as we have stated, we have that the process of the Department of Energy remains open, so we are remaining open to possibilities. We do have a preferred route, but we are open to discussion.
Could you clarify for me what you stated was the law, that you now have the right to use public corridors? So in other words, you could use highways to lay line. And would that be any transmission line coming through or just PSNH?
No, that would be any. They're chapters 237 and 231. The manual that the Department of Transportation mentioned to you all before, I believe the manual is a result of chapter 231 that kind of lays out how you work with them. I will state, though, that the Department of Transportation said that, and we've done our own checking. Many of those are crossings for us versus laying them along the corridor. Far more of them are just crossings.
But you could, if you so choose, come down a state road or an interstate highway.
Yes.
At this point.
We could. And the other question, what you just asked me brings me back to the other question. When I said that, PSNH and Northern Pass is open to discussion for other alternatives, it depends on the costs of those alternatives. And the reason that we have our preferred route the way it is because we own 140 of the miles that are required to do this. And so therefore the costs would be far less. And so we wouldn't have to acquire the rights. We wouldn't have to go through all of that. So it's up for discussion, but there's many points in the discussion. And that gets to what you're saying. It can be at times more expensive.
Have you people spoken to the proponents or the engineers of the Champlain Hudson project and looked at what their costs are?
I can't answer that. I do not know. I do not have an answer for that, but I could check and see if anyone has.
One, just, I believe.
Well, for example, we were to mandate the use of state transportation rights of way whenever possible. All of those have been what is commonly known as being softened. In other words, the ledge has been removed. And according to the testimony last week, if underground cable can be laid with, I don't know what that machine was, but they showed some kind of a machine that does it all in one step. So wouldn't the costs be at least comparable?
I don't think either one of us can answer that. I think we'd have to look at what parts of the state transportation corridor where they are, what are their plans for their 10-year transportation plan? Do they need the softened areas for expansions in the future? And we'd have to go someplace off of that hasn't been softened. I really don't even know how to answer it.
Okay.
I have a question. Donna, you said earlier that it's your preferred route, but you're open for discussion to look at other routes. What will it take for us to look at having that discussion and, kind of going down that path, finding out what it would cost to use existing state rights of way? What do we need to do to make that discussion happen?
Well, I think for Northern Pass, what we're focused on right now is purchasing the rest of the rights of way that we need. We're very, very focused on that. We see that as that we were given a mandate by the state to purchase properties and go as quickly as possible and see where we end up. After that, what it takes is, I guess I would say, collaboration and a discussion. And we are always open to talk to and collaborate with state legislature and the governor's office. But right now, I'm assuming because of the political process, we may have to wait just a little bit. A, for us to finish up our property purchases, and then B, for the, after November.
So you said you were, given a mandate by the state to purchase property?
It's the legislation that, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, you couldn't take property. There's
Right.
no eminent domain.
No eminent
one
domain.
told you had to
Focus.
buy it.
No. Right, I'm sorry. But focus on purchasing the property. We give regular updates. And the one update that legislators in the governor's office always ask, where are you? How far along are you? And that's what our focus is. We took that from the activity in the legislature last year to ensure that we got busy and did the right thing. And as we promised, no eminent domain, we weren't going to do it, and we couldn't anyway, but to get busy with it and show that we're making progress. Have to check.
I think, Donna, the BIA has pegged us as the 6th highest in the nation. We're in the middle of the pack of New England states, but we're the 6th highest in the nation the last time I checked with BIA.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we rank in the nation. I don't know where they got their information, but as we have discussed before, the Northeast and California, there is no question. The Northeast and California have the highest rates in the nation. So among the highest in the nation, I figure we're right in the middle of the pack. So if we're the 6th highest in the nation, that probably sounds about right.
I have one other question. You put yourself in our shoes as the commission. What information do you think we still need to get, or answers we need to have answered, questions we need to ask and answered to determine if underground using existing state rights of way is the way to go?
Well, I think if I were in your shoes, what I would want to check is what is the state's goals for their transportation plan into the future? And does this fit into that plan? What does the State Department of Transportation, I know they gave you the packet, the manual, but basically, what is that process? What are the concerns they have? What are the requirements? And then finally, I think for any discussion when it comes to energy, probably the most important thing that you need to really have conversations about is whatever it is you decide, how does it impact rates? And that isn't an easy one. That isn't one that you can do in 5 minutes or 20 minutes. I think what are the requirements and how are regulated utilities impacted and how do the rates get impacted by every decision that you make? So I think those are the two things you should do going forward.